What's going on YouTube? This is Fabulous Ninja Guy bringing you my first ever YouTube video. Today I'm going to be bringing you a Numeron Subterror deck profile, so without any further ado, let's get into it. First off, we have 3 copies of Numeron Wall. What Numeron Wall does is if I control no other cards except for Numeron Wall, I can send him to the graveyard to activate one Numeron network directly from my hand or my deck. It has another effect where I can end the battle phase, but that one really doesn't come up. Next up, we have 3 copies of Subterror Guru. What Guru does is when he's flipped face up, I can search my deck for any Subterror card except for Subterror Guru and add it to my hand. And then, also, I can target one other face-up monster on the field, change that monster to face-down defense position, and then also change this card to face-down defense position. If I control another Subterror card, it becomes a quick effect, which is pretty handy. Next up, we run 1 copy of Subterror Nemesis Archer. It's mostly just sometimes you have to get over things you can't get over. If I was cutting anything, it would be what I cut. And then we are on to the hand traps. We run 3 Subterror Fiendus. Searchable with Guru. When your opponent activates a card or effect, I can send it to the graveyard to negate it. It's just really good. Then we run 3 copies of Ash Blossom, the Joyous Spring. Stop Searching, also good. And then finally, 3 copies of Ghost Ogre and the Snow Rabbit. Sometimes it comes up mostly a locals call. I'm not sure if you'd run it in your profile, but I really like it. Next up, we're on to the spell cards. We have 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. Draw power is good, not much else needs to be said about that. 3 copies of the Hidden Cities. Hidden Cities lets me search my deck for a Subterror card and add it to my hand, and then once per turn I can flip a Subterror monster face up. Pretty handy. Then 3 copies of Numeron Network, which is what you add with Numeron Wall. It allows me to send 1 Numeron card from my deck to my graveyard, and then use its effect as this card. It's really handy because you can not Ash Blossom this card. It sends as cost, therefore it's not ashable. And the card we send with that is Numeron Calling. Numeron Calling says if Numeron Network is in your field zone and you control no monsters, special summon up to 4 Numeron Gate XYZ monsters with different names from your extra deck, but banish them at the end of the turn. Also, I can only special summon or normal summon once for the rest of the turn. That's really good, and you'll see why later. Then as one-ofs, we run 1 copy of Called by the Grave, because stopping hand traps is good, and 1 copy of Terraforming, because getting our field spells is good. On to the traps, we run 2 Subterror Final Battle. Final Battle basically does everything you need it to do in Subterrors. You can flip a Subterror face up, you can flip a Subterror face down, you can make it so their effects can't be negated, and also you can make their attack and defense equal their combined attack and defense. It's really nice to get over things that normally you wouldn't be able to swing over. Next up, we have 2 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Now, that's honestly just because I don't know where I put my 3rd copy, not because I wouldn't run 3. But if you have 3, run 3. 3 copies of Solemn Strike. Again, stopping effects is really good. This is mostly just a go first, stop your opponent from playing deck, which is Strike does nicely. And then finally, we have 3 copies of Solemn Judgment. Again, your opponent not being able to play is really good. Then we're moving on to the extra deck. To start off, we have 3 copies of Numeron Gate Eckham, 3 copies of Numeron Gate number 2, 3 copies of Numeron Gate number 3, and 2 copies of Numeron Gate number 4. They all have the same effect, they can't be destroyed by battle, and at the end of the damage step, if any of them attacked, you can detach 1 material from that card and double the attack of the rest of the Numeron monsters you control. Actually, while I'm on this, another thing I forgot to mention is while you have Numeron Network on the field, you do not have to detach for costs of your number monsters. Actually, I should confirm that. Yes, Numeron monsters do not have to detach for cost. That's an easy way to OTK if you end up going second, if they have a monster with less than 2,000 attack, or 2,000 or less attack in attack mode, or 2,000 or less defense in defense mode, you just OTK. Moving on, we run 2 copies of Utopic Zexal, which is basically this deck's win condition. Utopic Zexal requires 3 XYZ monsters, 3 number XYZ monsters with the same rank. And it's absolutely nutty. When this card, you can't negate its summon, first off. And then second off, I can detach 1 card from this card. 1 monster from this card. And then your opponent cannot activate cards or effects during their turn. You just absolutely stop your opponent from making any sort of plays, which is so good. I don't even need to explain how good that is. And then finally, we run 2 copies of Infinitrack Fortress Megaclops. It's unaffected by everything except for XYZ monsters. Some people don't run XYZ monsters at all, so you just summon Megaclops and sit on it, and quite often it wins you the game. Now finally, moving into the extra deck, or the side deck, sorry. The extra deck is mostly, I run multiples of everything because I run Extravagance. As long as you have 3 of the gates, you can still make your plays, no problem. Now for the side deck, I run 1 Sphere Mode. Again, I don't know where my other ones are. 2 copies of DD Crow. Banishing targets is really good. 2 copies of Evenly Matched. If you have to go second, you can just empty their board and then set up your plays, so it's basically like you went first. 2 copies of Nibiru. Again, just getting rid of your opponent's board before you set up your own is really good. 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone if I'm playing other back row decks. 1 copy of Pankratops because spot removal is really good. 2 copies of Shared Ride. That was a locals call again. Lots of decks we play here add a lot to the hand. It helped a lot. And 3 copies of Lancia. Lancia is literally just here because we have so many Dino players in our locals. Shout out to Cody and shout out to Ray. Anyhow, thank you for coming to my first YouTube video ever. If you guys enjoyed it, feel free to like and subscribe, and we will be back with more. Hopefully in the future, we will also expand into Pokemon content as well as TFT and Hades speedrunning. With any luck, by this time next week, I'll have a Shining Fates box break for you guys. Anyhow, thank you for watching and have a good day.